The Port of Los Angeles will launch 24/7 operations to tackle the huge line of ships waiting to dock, the White House says. Insider story. The Port of LA is starting to process ships 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to help ease a massive backlog. The White House said Wednesday the new hours would almost double the number of hours during which cargo can be moved. It said the shipping industry is currently in chaos, which ports in Southern California hit especially hard. At the Port of LA alone, ships carrying nearly 500,000 shipping containers. By the way, each one of them are right now, what's the number? She said 40 grand a pop. 500,000 containers at 40K a pop, or about 12 million metric tons of goods were waiting in drift areas at an anchor on October 5th for spots to open up so that they could dock and unload. On Tuesday, there were 80 ships at anchor or drift area and 64 at berths across both the ports of LA and Long Beach. The normal number of container ships at anchor is between 0 and 1. Yesterday, Psaki was being asked if things are not going to be delivered by Christmas. And they promised this will never happen. This will never happen. And then she changed her position. Yeah. So, well, there's nothing we can do about that.
People are just going to have to accept that you're not going to have Christmas.
Right. So can you imagine, like, you order, if you want to get gifts for your kids, you got to get them now. Because if you wait till December, you are not, it's going to be January 17th, you're going to get the gifts to give to your kids. So
this is a big deal. My mom actually worked in cargo services for a company called Sealand, CSX Lines, Horizon Lines, that now has been acquired by Matson. And she worked with the longshoremen Wednesday nights, Friday nights, just to make sure that she would physically see with the longshoremen the last container to be on that ship. And I've been to Panama, got to see the canal, understand that.
Yeah.
The money that is probably being the people who own the ports have to charge these people for the ships not leaving. So there's a cost in that as well that is going to be driven to the consumer eventually. And it's not going to look good for people at all. Those shipyards and whatnot, they're making the money right now, but I don't know how that's being dispersed.
Yeah.
But typically when someone charges one individual, it always gets hit with us. And then you got people in government that say, oh, yeah, you're not going to be able to get stuff. It's like, man, it's beyond that. You're talking about medical supplies. You're talking about a lot of different things. And the future does not look bright until they get a handle on this thing.
Well, Pat said something earlier, man. I love this line you said. I don't come from the helpless community. I don't come from the helpless community. It's a great line. And you got Jen Psaki up there, who has all the access, the power of the United States government, could declare a state of emergency. They're going to fire all the nurses and the doctors, and they're not worried about that because we're going to replace them with the National Guard. Well, the National Guard could unload trucks. The National Guard could unload ships. Don't give me this. People are just going to have to accept Christmas is canceled this year. No, unload the ships.
Who said Christmas is canceled?
Jen Psaki,
I'm
being hyperbolic. Yes.
Okay,
but that was a conversation because a lot of these bigger corporations are saying, listen, some of the stuff may not make it to the stores. Like, you have to be prepared for it. Some of the stuff is going to be a big delay on that. This is not like a hypothetical.
This affects every business.
Yeah, this is affecting everybody. So this is the part where, dude, did you hear the weight? 500,000 containers, which is how many tons did it say? What was the tons? It was
12
million metric tons of goods.
Yeah.
12 million metric tons of goods. So businesses want to sell. I had a guy that I was the guy that we had on Elite Mastermind. He says, I sell cigarette lighters, but he buys 250,000 of them. And these cigarette lighters have team logos on there, Lakers, Bulls, whatever, right? And what he does, he says, my 250,000 lighters have already been sold, but my customers are asking for the money back because it's been 90 days because it's sitting on a ship and I can't take it off. This is not a millionaire. He does $400,000 a year, and he nets like $120,000. So it's not like he's a guy making a lot of money.
Right.
He has no control over that. What does he do? This is affecting a lot of small business owners
Normally
today.
You would have to, like in the supplement business, it's kind of the same thing. You have distributors, whatnot, and a lot of the time, if you're good, those same distributors sell to those stores. So therefore, by the time the ship actually hits the port of that destination, everything's already sold, like everybody makes their money. But in this case, like you just said, I mean, this guy now has to have to pay back if he even does.
Yeah.
And this is going to cripple his business.
I literally just did this. I got the custom chucks, man.
Yep.
And I ordered 2 more of them. And it's been 6 weeks. I just put in like last 2, and they're not answering my emails. They're not putting in the refund request. My trucks are probably sitting on a ship in the port of LA.
That is crazy.
And you can't even pay. You can't even pay someone off.
That's one ship. Okay, one ship can put 1,100 Boeing 747 planes on there.
What?
Essentially, what this means
Are
is
you kidding?
the goods on that ship would take 1,100 planes.
To get it done. I got you. It would take 35 8,000-foot long trains. It would take 11,400 heavy trucks.
These ships are a big deal.
I think I remember. Kai, look this up because I don't want to get this wrong.
Wow.
But each transcontinental trip that they take from China, let's say, to the West Coast, I think it's the equivalent in carbon emissions of like 1 million cars. Each of these boats. I could be wrong. Because I know that sounds crazy.
No, they burn worse fuel. They burn diesel. They burn like the crappiest fuel because they can due to international laws on the water.
They're sitting out there just burning this stuff up into the atmosphere.
It's still the most efficient way to move it. Like there's no.
What are you going to do about it? We haven't figured out a better way.
Well, so there's nothing we can do.
Look,
about it.
Not a shipping expert over here, but what's the root cause of this? What's the supply chain issue? Are these trade policies? Are these? Is this COVID that's getting in the middle? Like, why is this all happening?
One of the things that they're saying is people are not showing up
employees.
to work.
COVID employees.
There's a lack of getting. It's what we were talking on the line. People are not showing up to come and do the work.
But it's a backlog. Even though people are showing up now, it's a backlog of 6 months of people not showing up.
So this is systematic of what happened during COVID. Unemployment, people sitting at home, people not showing up to work, people not moving things. Okay.
This is building back better, baby.
As people get back to work, this can get rectified soon? Is there an end in sight here? What's the give me a silver lining here since we're not helpless or hopeless.
Go ahead, Kai.
Yes and no. Obviously, if you're trying
not in the short term is what I'm
if you're putting in the same amount of 40 hours a week, but you're trying to catch up on 6 months of backlog, then obviously it's going to take a long time to speed that up. So unless you're filling up to try to catch up, it's going to be a long time, and at that point, you might as well almost try to trash it because who knows with the goods of how long their shelf lives
there's
are.
perishable goods.
So you're taking
Phil said there's additional shipping costs. Now you're going to pay overtime to the longshoremen. And almost all are union.
Think about the perishable goods. So if you have a product like I'm always going to go back to sports nutrition, from manufacturing date is 2 years. So you got 6 months or whatever. I mean, it's going to take maybe a couple months just to have it arrive. Mm-hmm. So you lost 2 months there. Do the math. Mm-hmm. These guys, the minute the protein gets there or whatever, how does that person sell it? Because the person that's buying is going to be like, oh, this expires in like 6 months.
What a
dude.
time
like,
to be in
the
logistics too. My buddy's in logistics, an ex-pro ball player, and like name's Jam Gold.
What's he saying?
Great dude. So he does trucking logistics.
Yeah.
He somehow, I don't know it exactly, but he matches up trains to trucks, and it's a bidding war right now. There's so few truckers, and everybody is trying to force their products out on overnight delivery because they're running up against their delivery dates. There's a certain amount of shelf life that they have to be on, so they're charging like $10,000-$20,000 for a single ride up from like Jacksonville to like Charlotte, man. Like it's insane. It's crazy.
You know how inflation sometimes it's so complicated? This is very simple inflation. Mm-hmm. Because the cost is getting passed down to who? To the business owner. And the business owner is like, I can't sell this thing for $7. I got to make it $8.99. I got to make it $9.99. I can't do nothing about that. So these are the things that is not even linked to printing money. These are the things that sometimes you just don't have a choice. The small business world is right now in shambles.
Dry your fruit, man. Get a whole bunch of fruit and dry it out.
Like, there's certain companies that work in sports nutrition that actually will say, I have the money to ship it by air, because it needs to be climate controlled. Mm-hmm. But damn, everybody can't do that.
Yeah.
So I mean,
it's really interesting, man. It's an interesting thing because going back to our administration, whenever it comes down to restricting the rights of individuals, they can't wait to jump. They cannot wait to jump. But anytime you need to do the other side of the pendulum and help people and like, hey, let's have a solution that doesn't increase my power, they have absolutely no ideas on how to do it. Hey, how do we shut down a city? I got 15 ideas on how we're going to do it. Everybody's going to wear masks. Now all these businesses that have been open for 6 months, they got to go outside. Build a tent outside because as long as you're inside, outside, it's okay. They've got all these ideas. But when it comes to actually being progressive and pragmatic, they got nothing. Bupkis. What it is sorry, Christmas is canceled. What do you mean? Unload the ships.
So if you enjoyed this little short segment from the podcast that we did, here's another short segment to watch. Or if you want to see the entire podcast, click over here. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.